Hey, hey, let's play too. Here's a quick look at today's starting lineups. For the Cincinnati Reds, we've got Rose, Griffey, Morgan, Bench, Perez, Foster, Dreesen, Concepcion, and Gary Nolan's the starting pitcher. For the Cubs, Kessinger, Beckett, Williams, Santo, Banks, Hickman, Smith, Hundley, and Hands starting for Chicago. Hands is a grade B XY modifiers, and both teams will be good defensively. They're going to be using the fielding one, fielding column. Let's begin. Here's Pete Rose. 42 is a base on balls. Rose goes to first, and we have Ken Griffey. .34 is going to be a high pop out the shortstop, but he has a Y modifier, so Griffey strikes out. Joe Morgan, scrappy second baseman with power. 31 to 9 against a grade B pitcher. It's going to be a infield base hit for Joe Morgan. Rose will go to second with one down. The Reds have something mounting. Johnny Bench. 24 is a double play, ground out to second base. We go to the bottom of the first, no score. Gary Nolan will take the mound, and his warm-up tosses are complete. He is a grade B pitcher with Z modifier. And leading off for the Chicago Cubs is shortstop Don Kessinger. .27 is going to be a ground out to third base. One away. Glenn Beckert. 32 is the roll. That's a ground out to second base. Billy Williams strikes out. We go to the top of the second, no score. Tony Perez steps in. 1-4 is the roll. Fly out to left field. George Foster. Fly out to center field. Dan Dreesen, Cincinnati third baseman. Ground out to second base. So Bill Hans makes quick work of the Reds in the top of the second. We go to the bottom of the second, no score. Ron Santos steps in. 54 is a fly out the right field. Ernie Banks, whose idea was to play two. 41 is the roll. That's going to be an error on the shortstop, Davey Concepcion, putting Banks at first with average speed. And one out. Jim Hickman. 1-6 is the roll. 28 is going to be a fielder's choice. Ground out to the shortstop. So Hickman's at first with two down. Willie Smith. Ground out to second base. We go to the top of the third, no score. Davey Concepcion. We'll start off the third with a base hit. He is a fast runner at first. Gary Nolan's going to look to sacrifice. and move the runner along. There's the pitch to Nolan. He squares around the bunt. Foul ball, strike one. 30 is a successful bunt to third, moving Concepcion to second, and Nolan is out 5-4. One out in the top of the order. Pete Rose. Second column roll is 0. 63 is going to be a double over first base, and the runner scores to give the Reds a 1-0 lead, and put Rose at second with one out. Rose is rated fast. Here's the pitch to Ken Griffey. Fly out to right field. 2 outs. And Joe Morgan. 62 is going to be a base on balls. With 2 away now, Reds have 2 runners on. And the very powerful Johnny Bench steps in. Hit 283 with 28 home runs in 1969. Here's the pitch. 53 is at 18 on field in column 1. Base hit 3 shortstop. Runners advance 2 bases. So Bench will drive in Rose, and Morgan will go to third. And it's 2-0 Cincinnati. Tony Perez, 2 outs first and third. 21's a fly out to right field. We go to the bottom of the third. Now Reds 2 and the Cubs nothing. Andy Henley starts off the Cubs half of the third. 62 is a strikeout. Bill Hands strikes out. Don Kessinger will restart the lineup. Here we go. 65 is a pop out to the catcher. Ending the bottom of the third, we go to the fourth. Reds 2, Cubs 0. George Foster leads off fourth for the Reds. 1-4 is a fly out to left field. Dan Dreesen. Ground out to the pitcher. 2 away. And Dave Concepcion. Ground out to the shortstop. So a quick inning for Bill Hands. Bottom of the fourth, still Reds 2, Cubs 0. Glenn Becker will lead off for the Cubs. Ground out to second base for the first out. Billy Williams. Ground out to the pitcher. 2 away. Ron Santo. 289, 29 home runs in 1969. 56 is a 4. Pop out to shortstop with a Y modifier. He doesn't have it, so it's a pop out to short. We go to the fifth, still Reds 2, Cubs 0. Gary Nolan will lead off the fifth for the Reds. And he strikes out. Back to the top of the order, and Pete Rose, the all-time hits leader, steps in. It is a ground out to the shortstop. So Rose is now 1 for 2. That's a double on the RBI. He has 2 outs now in the 5th. Ken Griffey. 8 against the B pitcher is a fly out to center field. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Still Reds 2, Cubs nothing. Yep, there we go. Leading off for the Chicago Cubs is the first baseman, Ernie Banks. Fly out to center field. 1 away, Jim Hickman. There's a 5 against that's going to be a double over first base. So with 1 out, the Cubs have a scoring threat. Tying run coming to the plate. Will Smith. 65 is a pop out to third base. 2 down. And the Reds are not going to mess around. They're going to walk Randy Hundley intentionally to pitch to the pitcher, Bill Hands. And with 2 outs, Hands is going to go ahead and bat. It's a 22, meaning the runner steals third. He will not, because we're going to ignore that. Don't want him stealing third because don't want to lead off the inning with the pitcher. So here's the next pitch to Hands. That's a 66. That's a 7. That's going to be a base hit. To left, 1 runner is going to score, and the other will go to third. So Hickman scores. Hundley goes to third, and the Cubs have first and third, and they've cut the lead in half. It is 2-1. We go to the top of the order, and Don Kessinger. Runners on first and third. There are 2 outs. Gary Nolan winds and pitches to Kessinger. That is a infield's playing deep. It's going to be a ground out to the shortstop. We go to the 6th. The Cubs have cut the lead in half. Reds 2. Cubs 1. So Bill Hands returns to the mound to take his warm-up tosses. The leadoff hitter will be Joe Morgan for the Reds. The roll is 25. That is going to be a single. And he will try to steal second. Let's see what the defensive rating for the catcher, Hundley, is an 8. So a roll of 1 through 23 will be 11 through 23 will be out. 24 through 66 should be safe. It's between 11 and 23, so Joe Morgan is cut down at second base for the first out. 2-4. So 1 out. That brings up Johnny Bench. 31's a 9. That's going to be a base hit for Bench. And he will not be trying to steal second base. Tony Perez with 1 out. That is a fielder's choice. Bench is out 4 to the shortstop. Second base to shortstop. And then Perez is at first. He's a slow runner. The Reds will not play it safe, though, with 2 outs. George Foster. 62 is a ground out to second base. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Reds 2, Cubs 1. The Cubs will lead off with their second baseman, Glenn Beckert. Here's the pitch to Beckert. Fly out to right field. One away, Billy Williams, who hit .293 with 21 home runs. He is looking for only the Cubs' third hit of the game, as Gary Nolan has been in control. 45 is a walk. So fast runner at first with one down, and Ron Santo comes to the plate for Chicago. Here's a pitch to Santo. 8 is a ground out to third base. With Williams going to second base. And 2 outs. The hitter is Ernie Banks. 64 is a strikeout. And Ernie is 0 for 3 today. And we go to the top of the 7th. Reds 2, Cubs 1. Dan Dreesen will lead off the Cincinnati 7th. 25 is a 10. That'll be a base hit to center field. That's Dreesen's first hit of the game. He's a fast runner at first. Davey Concepcion's the hitter. The Reds are going to hit and run. 63 is a 31. And that will be a single to right center field. And Dreesen will go all the way to third. So with nobody out, Cincinnati has runners on first and third. And the pitcher, Gary Nolan, coming to bat. And Gary Nolan will attempt to squeeze. Why not? Here's the pitch. 54 is a 32. Strike. The runner holds at second. Meanwhile, the runner at first, Concepcion, will try to steal second. And there'll be a throw from the catcher, and he's going to be gunned down at second just like Morgan was. So here we go. 1 out, runner at third. Nolan is still up to bat. I think he'll still try to squeeze. There's the pitch to Nolan. 35 is a 13. Strike, and the runner is tagged out at home. So that did not work at all. 2 strikes on the batter and 2 outs now. Here's the pitch to Nolan. 63 is a strikeout. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Reds 2, Cubs 1. Leading off for Chicago in the bottom of the 7th is going to be Jim Hickman. If the Cubs get back and come back and win this game, a lot of Reds fans are going to be looking back at the top of the 7th inning. There's a reason why. Here's the pitch to Jim Hickman. 24 is a strikeout to Jim Hickman. 1 down. Will Smith. 1-4 is a fly out to left. 2 away. Randy Hundley. 34 is a fly out to center field. We go to the 8th, still Reds 2, Cubs 1. Bill Hands will stay on to pitch the 8th for the Cubs. Dave Concepcion will lead off for Cincinnati. Wait a minute. We're at the top of the order. Pete Rose is the batter. 34 is a fly out to center field. Ken Griffey. Ground out to the pitcher. Joe Morgan. Here's the pitch to Morgan. And that is going to be a fly out to right field. Morgan is 2 for 3 on the day. but cut down the bases both those times he got on. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Reds 2, Cubs 1. Randy Hundley will lead off for the Cubs, and probably you'll see a pitch hitter for Bill Hands. 33 is going to be a base hit for Randy Hundley. Here's an average speed runner at first. And timeout. Okay, the pitch hitter for Chicago will be Paul Popovich. No outs. Hundley's at first. He will swing away. It's an 8 against a grade B pitcher. Is going to be a fly out to center field. No, it's not. First, it's going to be ground out to third. Hundley will go to second. So 1 out. The tie-in runs at second. Don Kessinger. Here's the pitch to Kessinger. He wants a fly out to left field. 2 outs. Glenn Beckert. 9 against a grade B pitcher is going to be a single over second. And that is going to be a RBI single, scoring Randy Hundley and tying the game for the Cubs at 2-2. Timeouts, the Reds will go to the bullpen. The new Cincinnati pitcher will be Clay Hawk Carroll, and he is going to go ahead and use his starting rating C because they may want him to stay in and pitch extra innings in the extra inning game. It's kind of taking a chance, but that's what we're going to go with. So he'll be using grade C with a Z modifier. Billy Williams steps in with 2 outs for the Cubs. 46 is the roll. That is a strikeout, ending the Cubs' 8th inning, but they tied the score 2-2. We go to the 9th inning. The new Chicago pitcher will be Hank Aguirre, who was the 1962 American League earned run leader. It's a good pitcher. Pitching in relief now, 2.6 ERA. He's a grade B pitcher with a Z modifier. Johnny Bench will lead off the 9th for the Reds. Here's the pitch to Bench. Ground out to second base. 1 down. In the Reds' 9th, Tony Perez steps in. Pitch to Perez. Ground out to third base. 2 away. George Foster. He could end it, or he could get the Reds up with 1 swing. And there's a 22. That's a 0, second column roll. This could be a big hit. 63. 6 is going to be a 2-base hit for George Foster. Gives the Reds a chance in the 9th. Dan Dreesen. Dreesen will be pitched to. 52 is a 27 play result. Ground out to third base. Ending the threat, we go to the bottom of the 9th for the Cubs. Score 2-2. Clay Carroll's going to come in and pitch the bottom of the 9th. But he's going to use his relief rating because he's not going to go a lot of innings. He's coming up the bat the next inning. He'll be pinch hit for. So Ron Santo leads off the 9th for the Cubs. Here's the pitch to Santo. That's a 22 and a base hit for Ron Santo. Timeout. Okay, pitch running for Ron Santo at first base will be Nate Oliver, a fast runner with no outs. And the batter is Ernie Banks. Here's the pitch to Ernie Banks. 63 is the roll. Fly out to center field. 1 down. Jim Hickman. It's going to be a pop out to the catcher. 2 away. Will Smith. That's a 9 against grade B. Single, infield hit. Smith's at first. Oliver goes to second. And Cubs have runners at first and second with 2 outs. And the catcher, Randy Henley, coming to bat. Here's the roll of Randy Henley. It is a 42, and Henley strikes out, ending the Cub threat in the 9th inning. We go to the 10th. Reds 2, Cubs 2. The Reds on the top of the 10th will have Dave Concepcion, a pinch hitter for the pitcher, and then Pete Rose. Here's the pitch to Concepcion. 34 is a fly out to center field. 1 out. Concepcion's 2 for 4 on the day. The pitch hitter for the pitcher, Clay Carroll, is Doug Flynn. Here's the pitch to Doug Flynn. Fly out to left field. 2 away. And Pete Rose. .35 is going to be a base hit for Pete Rose, who's 2 for 4. Fast runner on first. Ken Griffey. Ground out to the shortstop. We go to the bottom of the 10th, tied 2-2. Okay, in the bottom of the 10th, the new pitcher for Cincinnati is going to be Raleigh Eastwick. He is a grade B pitcher, XZ modifiers. The Cubs will pitch hit for Gary, their pitcher. Jimmy Hall, former Minnesota Twin, steps in for the first batter of the Chicago 10th. 41's the rolls at 26, ground out to second base. 1 away, top of the order, and Don Kessinger. Here's the pitch to Kessinger. 4th fly out to right field. He is 0 for 5 on the day. Glenn Beckert, the Chicago second baseman. There's a ground out to shortstop. For the 3rd out, we go to the top of the 11th, 2-2. Joe Morgan will lead off the 11th for the Reds. And the new Chicago pitcher is going to be Ted Abernathy, grade B, Y modifier. 26 is a base on balls to Joe Morgan. Johnny Bench is the batter. There's the pitch to Bench. 36 is another walk, putting Morgan in scoring position. And Ted Abernathy is having a little trouble finding the strike zone, and they're stirring in the Cubs bullpen. Tony Perez. 55 is a pop out to the catcher. 1 away. George Foster. That is a double play ground out to the shortstop, so that's the end of that threat. We go to the bottom of the 11th, 2-2. It's a good thing that for the Cubs, that Ted Abernathy serves up a lot of ground balls with his submarine style of pitching to overcome those 2 leadoff walks. Billy Williams steps in for the Cubs. 2-2 is the roll. That's a base hit to start off the 11th for the Chicago Cubs. And that will not bring up Santo. He was pinch run for. Nate Oliver will step in for the Cubs, and he is going to sacrifice try to sacrifice Billy Williams to second base. 23 is a roll of 26. Out of first, 3 to the second baseman, with Williams moving up. So one down. There's a threat in scoring position for Ernie Banks. 31 is the roll. That's a 9. He gets a grade B pitcher. That's going to be a base hit, and Oliver is going to score a walk-off single by Ernie Banks on Let's Play 2 Day. The Chicago Cubs take it in 11 innings, 3-2 over the 75 Reds. We're back with a wrap-up of today's first game of the doubleheader. One taken by the 69 Cubs, 3-2 over the 75 Reds. The winning pitcher was Hank Aguirre. The loser was Raleigh Eastwick. The Reds had 2 runs on 10 hits. They committed 1 error, while the Chicago Cubs had 3 runs on 8 hits and no errors. And the star of the game today for the Chicago Cubs, Ernie Banks, who got the game-winning walk-off single to drive in Billy Williams in the bottom of the 11th. Ernie Banks. Stay tuned for Game 2 coming right up. Here are your lineups for Game 2. For the Cincinnati Reds, there will be a couple of changes. Pete Rose will lead off, play third base. Ken Griffey will play right field. Joe Morgan at second base. Johnny Bench will be at first base. George Foster, the center fielder. Dreesen's in left field. Concepcion's the shortstop. Bill Plummer is going to be the catcher. And the starting pitcher for Cincinnati is John Billingham, who's a grade C pitcher with no modifiers. For the Chicago Cubs, and I might not have had that on the screen, but there it is. For the Chicago Cubs, Don Kessinger, Glenn Beckert, Billy Williams will be in right field for the Game 2. Santo at third base, Banks at first base. I have that mismarked on the lineup, but he's playing first base. Jim Hickman center field, Will Smith in left, and the new catcher for the Cubs in Game 2 will be Ken Rudolph, with Ken Holtzman pitching. Grade B pitcher, Y modifier. We are all set to go. Pete Rose steps in the box. Rose was 2 for 4 in the first game. Here's the pitch for Pete Rose. 61 is a ground out to shortstop. 1 down. Ken Griffey. 42 is a walk. Speed on first base. Joe Morgan. Reds are going to hit and run. Here's the pitch to Morgan. 51 is the roll. That's a 10. That will be a single through second base. The runner goes to third. Morgan may steal the next pitch. Rudolph. So here we're first and third. Rudolph is a grade 6 pitcher, so yeah, Morgan's going to steal. And that means that rolls of 11 through 13, he is out, otherwise safe. 63 through 66 will be an error on the catcher. Here's the throw, 21. Morgan will be safe at second. So with 1 down, the Reds have runners at second and third. Okay, runners at second and third, and the Cubs will go ahead and play the infield in and try to stop the scoring. Here we go. Here's the pitch. 62 is going to be a ground ball. With the infield in, single through second, the runners advance 1 base. So that kind of bites them. The Reds score first on the RBI single by Johnny Bench. Runners on first and third. Still 1 out. Cubs will play the infield back, try to get a double play. Here's the pitch to Foster rolls 42. Play results 40. Runner out trying to steal home. The other runner goes to second base. Oh, no, I'm reading the wrong thing. Morgan's on second, so 40 is going to be safe on an error on the shortstop, and that fills the bases. So more trouble. Bases loaded. Infield will still play back. Dan Dreesen comes to bat. Here's the pitch to Dreesen with the bases loaded. 24 is going to be a ground out double play, 6 to second to first, ending the threat and holding the Reds' top of the first to 1 run. So Ken Holtzman, dinged a little, escapes major trouble, and Chicago will come up in their bottom of the first with Don Kessinger. Kessinger had a rough first game. He was 0 for 5. Here's the pitch to Don Kessinger. 21 is a fly out to left field. 1 down. Glenn Beckert. 64 is going to be a ground out to third base. 2 away. Billy Williams. That's an 8 against a grade C pitcher. That's going to be a base hit for Billy Williams. After going 1 for 3 and getting the game-winning hit in the first game, he starts off well. Cubs have 2 outs. Fast runner at first and Ron Santos. 43 is the roll. Ground out to the pitcher. Ending the first, we go to the second. Reds 1, Cubs nothing. First batter for Cincinnati in the second will be Dave Concepcion. 22 is going to be a 8 against a grade B pitcher, a fly out to center field. 1 away. And catching for the Reds in game 2, Bill Plummer steps in. 62 is a strikeout. Jack Billingham, the pitcher. 9 against a grade B pitcher, and Billingham reaches with the base hit. 2 out single brings us to the top of the order, and Pete Rose, who is 0 for 1. 63 is a fly out to center field. Ending the Reds' top half of the second. Score remains 1-0 Cincinnati. Ernie Banks steps in for Chicago, the hero from game 1. 33 is going to be a second column roll. 1-5 will be a triple to left center field. So Ernie Banks starts the Cubs half of the second with a major scoring threat, tripling to left center field. Here's Jim Hickman. Reds will not play their infield in. They're going to stay back. Here's the pitch to Hickman. 34 is a fly out to center field. An F runner would score, but Banks is not at this point in his career an F runner. So he holds it third, 1 away. The infield is still back. Will Smith steps in. 42 is a strikeout. So Billingham carefully working his way through this maze. Ken Rudolph. Rudolph will be walked to get to the pitcher, Ken Holtzman. .52 is a 27 or ground out to third base. Ending the second inning, we go to the third. Reds 1, Cubs nothing. Leading off for the Reds in the third is Ken Griffey. 1-2 is a ground out to second base, or X modifier. He has a Y modifier, so that's a ground out to second base. Joe Morgan. 32 is a ground out to second base. So Glenn Beckert is busy for the Cubs in this inning. Here's the pitch to Johnny Bench. 56 is a pop out to the shortstop, or Y modifier, a strikeout. We go to the bottom of the third. Reds 1, Cubs 0. Leading off for the Cubs, top of the order, Don Kessinger, who has been struggling today. 21, struggles contender with a fly out to left field. 1 down, Glenn Beckert, 0 for 1. He was only 1 for 5 in the first game. 46 is a ground out to third base. 2 away, Billy Williams. That's going to be a base hit for Billy Williams, who goes 2 for 2 after going 1 for 3 in the first. 2 down, fast runner first base, Ron Santo. It's going to be a walk to Santo. Billingham working carefully to the dangerous third baseman. But that brings up, with 2 men on, Ernie Banks. At 253. It's been kind of hot. But they're going to pitch to him. Here we go. 43 is a 29. That's going to be a ground out to the pitcher. Ending the third inning, we go to the top of the fourth. Cincinnati 1 and Chicago 0. Thought about walking Banks to pitch to Hickman, but worked out. George Foster will lead off the Reds' fourth. Foster was 1 for 5 with a double in the first game. Reached on the air in this game. 51 is the roll. Fly out to center field for the first out. Dan Dreesen. Base on balls. Dreesen's a fast runner. We'll go to first. Dave Concepcion. Reds will hit and run. They're going to start the runner. 26 is a roll. 27 is a ground out to third base, but Dreesen will go to second with 2 outs and be in scoring position. Bill Plummer will be pitched to. He's a 182 hitter, so they're going to go ahead and pitch to Plummer rather than walk him and pitch to Billingham, who got a base hit his last time up. Here's the pitch to Plummer. 41's the roll. That's a ground out to Kessinger over to first for the final out. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 1-0 Reds. Jim Hickman will lead off for the Cubs. Billingham's first pitch, 26, is a strikeout. We'll make that his third pitch. 1 down. Willie Smith steps in. Pop out to the catcher, 2 outs. And the Cubs catcher, Ken Rudolph, comes to bat. 1-2 is going to be a ground out to second base. A quick fourth for the Cubs. We go to the top of the fifth. Cincinnati 1 and Chicago 0. Ken Holtzman stays on. He's pitching well. We're at the bottom of the Reds order. Jack Bellingham will lead off the fifth for the Reds. Here's the pitch to Bellingham. 21 is a strikeout. 1 down. Pete Rose. It's a base hit for Rose. First hit of this game. He will be at first. Fast runner. Ken Griffey. There's the pitch to Griffey. We're going to not hit and run this time. 52 is 27. Play result. It's going to be a double. So if we're not hit and running, he rolls into a double play. Ending the top of the fifth, it is the Reds 1, Cubs 0. We are at the top of the, we're at the bottom, likewise we're at the bottom of the Cubs batting order. Bellingham pitches to his counterpart, Ken Holtzman. 41 is a ground out to third base. One away, Don Kessinger. 63 is a fly out to center field. 2 down, Glenn Beckert. Ground out to shortstop. We go to the 6th inning, 1-0 Reds. Leading off the top of the 6th inning for the Reds is Joe Morgan, the second baseman. Here's a pitch to Morgan. 52 is a ground out to third base. 1 away. Johnny Bench is playing first base in this game. 42 is a 38. Going to be ball 1. By the way, the Reds are fielding column 2 now, just barely, with the defensive changes. 54 is a fly out to right field. George Foster. 46 is a strikeout. We go to the bottom of the 6th, Reds 1, Cubs 0. Jack Bellingham comes back out, takes his warm-up tosses. He's working on a shutout. Here's the pitch to Billy Williams. 1-2 is going to be a ground out to second base. Not getting many strikeouts. He's a control pitcher, but he is certainly very, very effective today. Ron Santo, 31, is going to be a 9 and gets a grade C pitcher. He pops out to third base. Rose makes the catch. There are 2 away. Bernie Banks. 3 is a 20 on column 2. That's going to be an error on Joe Morgan. Banks with average speed will be at first with 2 away. And Jim Hickman. 51 is going to be a 9 against grade C. Ground out to third base. We go to the 7th, Reds 1, Cubs 0. Dan Dreesen. 61 is a roll. 24 is a ground out to the shortstop for 1 down. Bill Plummer. 51 is a base on balls. Catcher is a slow runner. And coming to bat is not Concepcion, but rather Bellingham, Jack Bellingham. Wait a minute. Okay, Concepcion was supposed to be the batter. The roll was 51, which is an 8. That's going to be a fly out to center field and not a base on balls for the second out. I got to correct that on my score sheet. And there are 2 outs. Now Bill Plummer is the batter. 54 is a fly out to right field. Reds are down in the top of the 7th, but they still hold the lead 1-0. Cubs will lead off with Will Smith. 52 is a ground out to third base. Brings up the catcher, Ken Rudolph. 16 is a ground out to shortstop. A lot of ground outs in this game. And Ken Holtzman's going to stay in. It's a 1-0 game. Here's the pitch to Holtzman. 53 is going to be a strikeout. So we go to the top of the 8th. Reds still 1. Chicago still 0. Jack Billingham will stay in the game. He's pitching a shutout. 34 is the roll. Fly out to center field. He is 1 for 3. And Pete Rose comes in. Here's the pitch to Rose. 8 against grade B. It's going to be a fly out to center. 2 down. Ken Griffey. 23 is a ground out to third base. Go to the bottom of the 8th. Reds 1, Cubs 0. Top of the order for Chicago, Don Kessinger. Bellingham goes back to the mound. 6 more outs to the shutout. 61 is a 39, strike 1 on Kessinger. Trying to make Bellingham throw a lot of pitches here. 23, it's going to be a ground out back to Bellingham. He throws over to bench for the first out. 1 down. Glenn Beckert. 6 is a walk. Beckert with average speeds at first base. And here comes the dangerous Billy Williams. 34 is a fly out to center. And the equally dangerous Ron Santo. 23 is a fly out to left. We go to the 9th, still Reds 1, Cubs 0. Joe Morgan. 62 is a walk. We're starting in the Cubs bullpen. Got speed at first base. Johnny Bench, the batter. Last time I didn't hit and run. We ended up in a double play, so we're going to try to hit and run. There's nobody out. Here's the pitch to Bench. 54 is a play result of 32. It's going to be a fly out to right field. Bench got under it, tried to hit it on the ground. Morgan retreats to first. There is 1 down. Forrest Foster will swing away. 32 is a fielder's choice. Morgan's going to be out second to the shortstop. Foster is the new base runner. At first, he is fast. 2 outs. Van Driesen. 63 is the roll. Fly out to center field. That ends the Reds' top of the 9th. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Reds 1, Cubs nothing. Jack Bellingham will come out to pitch the 9th inning. Ernie Banks is the first hitter for Chicago. In case there's any trouble or Bellingham tires, Will McEnany is warming in the Reds bullpen. But Bellingham is all set to pitch to Ernie Banks. Here's the pitch to Banks. 44, that's going to be 8. That's going to be a base hit for Ernie Banks. He is 2 for 4 in the game, a single and a triple. No outs. Jim Hickman, the batter. Hickman's going to swing away. You only got 3 outs left. I don't want to sacrifice here. Here's the pitch. 1-1 roll. That's going to be a 5. It's a long drive. It could be. It might be. It is out of here over the right center field fence for a home run. and a walk-off win for the Chicago Cubs. Jim Hickman getting it done against Jack Bellingham. 2-1 Chicago victory. And just like lightning, boom, zang, Hickman, bang, zoom. I think we say. Jim Hickman ends it for the Cubs in a walk-off fashion. We'll be back with a wrap-up in a second. Well, the 1975 Reds came into Wrigley Field. I think they're one of the top 10 teams in baseball history. In my view, they were a great team, a dynasty. Maybe the 75 Reds were a tiny bit better than the 76 Reds, although the 76 Reds swept the World Series. But I think they're one of the top 10 teams ever. But they were mistreated here at Wrigley Field today with 2 walk-off victories for the Chicago Cubs. Game 2 saw Chicago score 2 runs on 5 hits and 1 error. Cincinnati had 1 run on 4 hits and 1 error. The winning pitcher was Ken Holtzman, who went 9 innings and gave up 1 earned run. Jack Bellingham was a losing pitcher for Cincinnati, who pitched well also, 8 innings, gave up 2 earned runs. And the star of today's game would have to be Jim Hickman with the walk-off home run. He went 1 for 3, 2 RBIs. So Jim Hickman is your star of Game 2. And the Cubs take 2 in Wrigley on Ernie Banks' Let's Play 2 Day.